Good morning, everyone. It's Woodcraft by Scott. It's been a while since I did a overall overview video, and I thought this would be a great day to do it as I'm preparing for my biggest event of the year. I do an event called Topsail Autumn up at Topsail Beach in North Carolina. Did it the first year in 2018. Sold over 175 pieces. I was not expecting that. I knew it was a good event, but I didn't know it was that great. And so I'm scrambling right now to get prepared for it. And my shop is in the messiest state it's ever been, and I don't mind showing it off just because the chaos just means that this thing is worth doing everything I can for. So I'm just going to do a walkthrough of everything that I'm working on, my plans, my ideas. When I did it in 2018, I was woefully unprepared. Probably could have sold a whole lot more if I had gotten my inventory up. So just a broad view of my workspace. It's part of my garage. I'm fortunate to have a 2.5 car garage. Been able to cordon off a little bit over, I'd say about a third of the overall garage. We've got the car in here. Golf cart only takes up a minimal amount of space compared to a car, and so that gives me a lot more room now. Like I said, everything's a mess. Under that black cover is a Delta scroll saw that a buddy of mine locally bought and realized he wasn't going to need or use, so I bought it off him, barely used. Look forward to using it. I use DeWalt, and I'll go into more detail on that. Anyway, real quick, this blue bin is what I carry everything that is going to be displayed, because it's not shrink wrapped, everything is loose, so there are multiple cardboard layers with pretty much puzzles throughout. I display about 100 puzzles. And this is something I'm going to work on over the off season, is come up with a more trimmed down display. I'm realizing after 5 years what does sell, what doesn't sell, but at the same time I enjoy showing pretty much everything. It draws people in, they just ooh and awe over everything. So again, as part of preparation for this Topsail Autumn event, I've got probably 35 or 40 key and leash holders, which by the way I was not making back in 2018, so this is going to be a new item there. I did do the event in 2019. First day was great, second day rained out, and then of course 2020 was canceled. So I look forward to presenting the leash and key holders. I think they're going to be a huge hit. I've got maybe 50 or 60 of those made up. For those of you that are familiar with me already, I do specialized items. So I live in Carolina Beach, North Carolina, and it's hard to see in here. But Carolina Beach and Curie Beach, we're on the same island in the same area, so I make specialized items for Carolina Beach and Curie Beach. Whenever I have a major event in another town, I will do specialized there. I get Harvey to draw them up for me. These are going to be hooks as well. They have been cut, obviously. They've been glued up. They've been colored. And now they're just waiting to be finished and then hooks installed. Speaking of finish, this is something that I'll be working on in the off season. When I first started making the hooks, their quantity was not that high, but they've really taken off. I've been using rattle can clear glaze spray to finish them. Obviously it's rather tedious, especially when I've got 21 of these things to spray right now. So that's going to take up a good chunk of my day, one day this week when I finish those up. I also started making these as jumbo sized. Here's the Jumbo Dragon. Underneath I did a dog, and these are for display to just kind of show that I can do these in any size, take orders for them as needed. As a matter of fact, I took an order for a jumbo sized Pyrenees a couple weeks ago, and they even asked for white hooks instead of black. I was happy to accommodate. Just a quick note about taking custom orders. I do have an order form that I have people fill out when they place the order. They have a choice of free pickup here at my shop, or I do ship. I try to encourage the pickup just to save them money and me. I only charge $5 to ship. Actually costs about $8 or $9, but I just eat the rest. The problem with pickup is it's random. I get people that swear they're going to be here within the hour. I never see them. I got to follow up. But anyway, it's just not one of my favorite things. Golf tee games. Yeah, I'm sitting on about 9,000 golf tees right now. I'll show you the golf tee games in a minute. Just as a recap of my shop, this is my drying rack where I dry the puzzles. I use food grade mineral oil, simple dip into the mineral oil, and then on the rack for a couple days. Mineral oil never 100% dries. However, I've never had an issue, never had a complaint about that for the puzzles. When I started making the wall hooks, I realized I really don't want to use mineral oil because it'll potentially soak into the drywall when it's hung on a wall. So that's when I went to the spray. This is where I do my coloring. Everything is watered down food coloring. I found that to be easy to use, safe. Be sure to use distilled water. That container is just one that I constantly have full and use and dip my pieces in. You don't want to use regular tap water as it could spoil, mold, or mildew. There's a brand new laser. As you can tell, I'm not using it. I have not figured out or learned how to use it. I just haven't had the time. And the laser engraver is used for the custom names. I'll show it again on that Pyrenees that I made custom. But anyway, this is the laser engraver that I use. I charge an extra $10 to engrave a name on any piece. People love it, and it's gone very, very well. More golf tees in there. Drill press, jigsaw, about the only other tools that I have or use in my shop. Here are some of the golf tee games that I make, and I just found a pattern online, enlarged it to the size that I wanted, and then I simply drill the holes, sand the edges. It's the only time I sand, by the way. I don't sand any of my puzzles. I don't sand any of the leash holders. Pegasus Modified Geometry blades do a superb job. This is my cutting area. Again, I'm a DeWalt fan, even though I wear one out every 15 to 18 months. I've just grown to trust them to work right out of the box and quick, easy setup. There's my backup. I always keep one on hand, ready for when I wear one out. This one's just about on its last leg, starting to make the telltale signs that the bearings and or the sleeves are going out on it. Got a stack of items up on top to still get cut this week. My event that was scheduled for today got canceled due to rain. Honestly, it was a good thing because I want to be prepared for my major event next weekend. I'm going to cut as much as I can this week, have as much as I can on hand. The problem with the leash holders is I just never know what dogs are going to be asked for. So while I take 100 breeds of dog as puzzles, I just don't have the ability to take that many as leash holders. Just too much bulk, difficult to transport, etc. Just another quick glance at my cutting area. I call this my Dexter room. I don't know if any of you are fans of the TV show on Showtime called Dexter. By the way, new season's coming out November 7th, I believe. Dexter always, when he was doing his bad deeds or good deeds, would enclose everything in plastic and then cut up body parts. Well, it's kind of in essence what I do when I make puzzles. I cut up body parts. Anyway, there are my jumbos. This rack I roll outside to spray because of the fumes. Again, inventory and everything. Oh, by the way, another side business. My wife and I started up an advertising business here on the island, showcasing local businesses, restaurants, things to do, so that the tourists, when they come to visit, can find all the wonderful places to visit. These are my display stands that I put on the corners of my booth when I set up. It catches people's eyes along with all of my banners. Hopefully you've seen my setup before. I really like what I've done. I love tweaking it as I learn things. My inventory, again, is really depleted. I do have 2 or 3 bins full of puzzles, duplicates, ready for the event, but this is what I've got currently left. One last thing. My second best event of the year is always at the end of August up in Cary, North Carolina. It's called Lazy Days. It is notoriously the hottest weekend of the summer. It just happens to coincide. I was there this past August. It was 96 degrees both days, high humidity. We are set up on asphalt. It was just brutal. Typically, when I'm in an event, my local market, I can have access to electricity, and I've got a large fan that I use. At Lazy Days, you do not have access to power, and so I had nothing but a small fan that I could run off a small power source. I just finally got fed up after Lazy Days this year and said, this is it. So I bought a 1,000 watt rechargeable power supply. Some events do not like generators, so you can't take anything that makes any noise. This thing is simply a rechargeable unit, 1,000 watt capability. I can now run a small low wattage heat gun for shrink wrapping on the spot. That was also something that I disliked when I was at events with no power. I could not shrink wrap on the spot and couldn't package my puzzles off the table the way I want to. Anyway, this thing's a beast. I've used it once. It was fantastic. I've tested it. It will run 9 hours with the fan running at full speed. It also actually has a solar panel that you can hook up to it, and as long as you get some sunlight, it will charge itself as it's running. Not fully, but it does extend the life of it. So anyway, this will be going with me to Topsail because I won't have access to power. That's kind of it. I did not intend for this to go on for 10 minutes, but just another glimpse at my overall workshop. Got the necessary golf clubs. I play every Monday. I do have a day job, by the way. I work for a software company. Fortunately, I've been with them for 15 years. I've got an inordinate amount of vacation time, and because we live at the beach, we don't take a lot of vacations. So I wind up taking a lot of Mondays off just to burn my time. Anyway, folks, as always, let me know of any questions. Always happy to answer.